Amazing transformation, Millionaire's shocking response to poor girl's heartwarming request. Expo. The annual town expo was buzzing, a living tapestry of laughter and lively chatter. Emma's heart raced as she navigated her way through the crowd, the scent of grilled burgers and fried dough wafting around her like a comforting blanket. This was her moment. With every step, the worn-out brochures from the library clutched tightly in her hand, she could almost feel the weight of her dreams lifting her. A prestigious national scholarship opportunity had ignited a fire inside her, but the weight of her family's struggles loomed large. Glancing at the families who thrived while hers scraped by, the excitement dimmed, and she felt a tug at her heart. What if Donovan, the town's golden businessman, could help? Known for his generous donations, he was a familiar face at these events, flashing that perfect smile and shaking hands like it was an Olympic sport. Emma thought of her mom, working double shifts, and knew this was her chance to change their lives. With every ounce of courage she could muster, Emma approached him. "Mr. Donovan," she blurted, her fingers trembling as they clutched the brochures. "I have a dream of going to college. This scholarship could be my way out." "I was hoping you might." To her shock, he laughed, a sharp, venomous sound. "You think just because you want it, you can have it? Sweetheart, look around. You really think someone like you could?" That cold dismissal stung more than she could express. It lit a fire deep within her, a determination she didn't know she had. She left the expo with tears in her eyes and a vow in her heart to prove him wrong. As the summer sizzled on, strange whispers filled the diner where Emma's mother worked. Donovan was in trouble. Scandals and murmurs swirled around town like summer storms, unsettling the once pristine image he had built. Emma's heart felt conflicted. While others reveled in his downfall, Emma felt an unexpected twinge of empathy. He had dismissed her, sure, but wasn't there more to every story? Couldn't they help each other? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Emma decided she would reach out to him, offer her help in rebuilding the trust he had lost with the community. Maybe together, they could pave a new path. Your golden handshake can still mean something, she thought, if you're willing to share your story. As she organized a community event, she felt the tension coil tighter with each day. Would Donovan, once aloof and full of pride, recognize the potential for redemption not just for himself, but for her as well? As the day approached, hope and fear danced within her chest like the flickering lights backstage. The crowd was gathering, and with it, Emma's heartbeat quickened. She spotted Donovan, still reeling from the scandal, yet there was a glimmer in his eyes. Would hope flicker in his heart too? Could he finally see? Emma's resolve tightened. Today, the stage was theirs. As the lights dimmed, a poignant silence fell over the crowd, leaving an unanswered question: could redemption truly bridge the chasm that separated them? Emma stood in the spotlight, feeling its warmth wash over her like a wave. She took a deep breath, her palms clammy, her heart a wild drum in her chest. As the crowd murmured with anticipation, she clutched the microphone, trying to steady her racing thoughts. This was not just about her dreams, it was about something much bigger. "Thank you all for being here today," she began, her voice surprisingly steady. She glanced at Donovan, who stood off to the side, the shadows of the past few months lurking in his eyes. He looked smaller somehow, stripped of his usual bravado, and for a moment, Emma felt a surge of compassion for the man who had once turned her away. "We gather today not just for ourselves but for each other, for our community." The crowd quieted, and she felt their curiosity swirl in the air. The colorful banners of the expo waved gently behind her, reminding her of all the dreams each family held. "I want to talk about hope," she continued, her nerves giving way to a quiet strength. hope for a brighter tomorrow, where we can lift each other up. I believe that every one of us, no matter where we come from, deserves a chance to pursue our passions. Emma spoke about the scholarship, sharing her dreams of becoming the first in her family to attend college. Each word felt like a thread stitching her story into the fabric of the community. The stories she had read, the late nights spent studying hard under the flickering light of her desk lamp, they needed to be shared. And somehow, she felt that Donovan's story mattered too. We've all faced obstacles. I know I have, she confessed, her eyes locking onto Donovan's. But when we support one another, we can change our fates. A low murmur rippled through the crowd, their expressions shifting as they processed her words. Some nodded in understanding, while others exchanged glances as if trying to grasp the essence of what she was saying. Emma took a deep breath, pushing away the vulnerability that crept in. Mr. Donovan, I know we don't know each other well, but I can see the pain you've been through. It reminded me of how desperate things can feel. But just as I am asking for your help, I want to offer you a chance. A chance for redemption, to show this community that you care. As she finished her speech, the silence in the air thickened. Donovan shifted, his face unreadable, and for a second, the world stopped. The crowd waited, breath held, not knowing how their story would unfold. Then, slowly, Donovan stepped forward, and all eyes turned to him. Emma, he called, his voice steady but laced with uncertainty. You've said something today that I've been trying to ignore. This community, it's not just a business to me. It's my home. Emma felt her heart leap in her chest, hope blooming like wildflowers in spring. Could he be turning a corner? She watched as he struggled to keep his composure, the weight of his own experience evident. Maybe we can figure this out together, he continued, glancing at the crowd. A ripple of anticipation ran through the crowd, their expressions were a mix of disbelief and curiosity. Emma's heart raced at the thought of what this could mean for both of them. Let us use this chance to heal, Donovan added, a spark igniting in his gaze, for both you and me. I'm willing to listen, to learn, and to help. The air buzzed with astonishment. Together, they stood at the precipice of an unexpected partnership. Would this be the beginning of something transformative? As Emma felt the whirlwind of possibilities sweep through her, she couldn't help but wonder, what would they uncover about themselves along the way? The moment hung in the air, thick with emotion and suspense. Emma's heart danced wildly, each beat amplifying the uncertain atmosphere around her. Donovan's words stirred something deep within her, a mix of hope and disbelief. Could this be the shift they both needed? The crowd remained silent, their faces a mosaic of expression: surprise, anticipation, and even skepticism. Emma took a cautious step towards Donovan, feeling the unspoken weight of their shared histories. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice barely a whisper, as if she were afraid to break the fragile connection that had just formed. Donovan's eyes flickered with a hint of vulnerability, and for the first time, she felt like she truly saw him, a man tired of hiding behind his past mistakes. "I need to make things right," he said, the resolve in his voice solidifying. "What do you want from me?" The question hung between them like an open door. "I want to create a scholarship program," Emma replied, her confidence inching closer to the surface. "One that supports aspiring students who may not have the same opportunities. It's about building bridges, not walls." As she spoke, a sense of clarity washed over her. This wasn't just her dream. This was a chance to ignite change. Together, we can show this community the power of healing and support. We can inspire others to uplift one another. Donovan nodded, the scarred look in his eyes beginning to dissolve. "I'll help however I can. We can start with fundraising events, workshops, anything that brings the community together." Encouragement rippled through the crowd, whispers turning into applause. Emma's heart surged as she recognized that this moment, the birth of an alliance, had the power to alter lives. An older woman in the front row, with silver hair that gleamed under the Expo lights, stood up, her voice cutting through the applause. "I run the community library. We can host educational seminars there. Imagine the stories we can tell. Another voice piped up, a young man with eager eyes. I play in a band. We could do fundraisers with live music. Ideas flowed like a river bursting its banks, each suggestion building upon the last. Emma felt buoyed by the energy circulating among them, her spirit lifted higher with each word that left their lips. They were becoming something greater than themselves, weaving together their dreams and determination, but just as the excitement reached its peak, doubt crept back into her mind. What if Donovan wasn't as committed as he seemed? What if he slipped back into his old ways? A flicker of uncertainty crossed her face, and Donovan must have seen it. He stepped closer, lowering his voice so only she could hear. Emma, I promise I'm ready to change. Let us be accountable to each other. If I falter, you pull me back. And if you doubt, I'll remind you why we started this. Something deep inside her softened at his words. She smiled, feeling an unfamiliar warmth in her chest. Maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of true transformation for both of them. As the crowd erupted into cheers, Emma caught Donovan's eye again. The bond felt solidifying with each heartbeat. Let us meet tomorrow, she suggested, her heart brimming with excitement. We'll start mapping everything out. The tentative hope between them was tangible, and as she turned to face the crowd once more, Emma realized the journey ahead wasn't just about her own aspirations. It was about healing for her, for Donovan, and for the community they both loved in their own ways, but as they celebrated this moment, a shadow lingered in the back of her mind. What other secrets might Donovan be hiding? And would the bond they were building be strong enough to withstand them? The next day dawned bright and hopeful, the sun spilling over the community center with warmth that matched Emma's spirit. She awoke with a sense of determination. Today was more than just a meeting, it was the first step toward something monumental. A chance to change lives. As she walked through the center's doors, her bright smile was met with nods and encouraging murmurs from the community members already gathered. The room hummed with excitement, filled with ideas and ambitions intertwined like threads in a rich tapestry. Emma spotted Donovan at the front of the room, deep in conversation with the older woman from the previous day. She felt a flicker of pride as she recognized how committed he seemed. There were no walls around him today. Just openness and hope. Good morning, everyone. Emma called out, her voice steady. The chatter quieted, and all eyes turned toward her, filled with anticipation. Thank you for being here. It means so much to see all your enthusiasm. Let us dive into ideas for the scholarship program and how we can kickstart our first events. She noticed Donovan standing beside her, and the way he smiled at her gave her heart a little leap. Together, they presented a united front, a symbol of their shared dream. The older woman spoke first, suggesting they host a book drive. We could gather books for local schools while raising funds for the scholarship. Everyone loves a good read. People murmured in agreement, and Emma felt energy spark around the room. Next, the young man with the band jumped in, his eyes bright with ideas. We could organize a community concert. Local acts can showcase their music, and we can charge an entry fee. It'll be fun and promote togetherness. Encouragement rippled through the crowd again, ideas bouncing off each other in a delightful chaos. Emma's heart swelled, each suggestion built the foundation for their dream. But amidst the excitement, a shadow lingered in her chest. What about the past? The accidents, the mistakes, could they really move beyond that? She glanced at Donovan, who was engrossed in conversation with others. He looked different today, confident, alive. But the nagging doubt in her mind wouldn't let go. As the ideas flowed, Donovan stepped forward, his voice strong and clear. I think we need sponsors, businesses in our area who might want to support this initiative. We should reach out to those who have benefited from the community just like we are trying to do. At his words, Emma felt her heart rate quicken. What if those very sponsors were the ones Donovan had previously let down? She covered her face momentarily, pressing her palms against her cheeks. Emma? Donovan's gentle voice broke through her thoughts. Are you okay? His eyes bore into hers, echoing the concern that swirled in her mind. Yeah, just thinking, she replied, forcing a smile. But the concern remained, deeper than that. Was she ready to risk this dream, to risk him? Finally, they decided to form committees, assigning roles based on people's strengths. Everyone seemed eager to contribute, and the atmosphere buzzed with teamwork. But as Emma wrote down the names and tasks, she couldn't shake the worry that gripped her like a vice. After the meeting wrapped up, Emma found herself alone with Donovan by the front doors. You did great, he said, his voice soft, almost tender as he stepped closer. Thanks. I want to make sure this works. Her words trembled slightly as she looked up into his eyes, seeing the flickers of determination mixed with something uncertain. And I want that too, he said, lifting her chin with a gentle finger. Whatever it takes, I won't let you down. But the lingering question echoed: could their past truly be left behind, or would it come creeping into their ambitious plans? Emma took a breath, feeling both exhilarated and terrified of what the next days would bring. As they parted ways, a decision settled in her heart. She would have to confront these fears. That night, she lay in bed, the ceiling fan stirring memories of whispered doubts. What if the very secrets she feared were the ones Donovan carried too? And what would she do if they surfaced now, just as everything was beginning to change? Her phone buzzed beside her, startling her from her thoughts. It was a message from Donovan. Can we talk later? I have something important I need to share. Her heart raced. What was he hiding? Would this be the turning point they both needed, or the unraveling of everything they just built together? Emma stared at her phone, the screen illuminating her anxious expression. Donovan's message sat heavily in her gut, a weight she couldn't shake off. What could be so important that it couldn't wait until morning? She drummed her fingers against her thigh, torn between fear and anticipation. The next day unfolded in a flurry of activity, but Emma found it hard to concentrate. Despite the community center buzzing with preparations for their upcoming events, her mind was occupied with possibilities. Each laugh and cheer around her felt muffled against the din of her thoughts. Donovan's words looped in her mind like an urgent melody, pulling at the edges of her resolve. When the sun began to dip low in the sky, casting long shadows through the windows, a gentle knock broke her reverie. Donovan stepped inside, his expression serious yet kind. Can we talk? Of course, she said, her heart racing again with a mix of curiosity and dread. They moved to a quiet corner, away from the laughter and the excitement around them. Donovan shifted nervously, scratching the back of his neck. I wanted to share something with you. It's about the sponsorships. He paused, searching her eyes for a sign of understanding. I've reached out to a few local businesses. Emma held her breath, sensing a storm brewing beneath the surface. And I think we can get some really strong support, he continued, his voice gaining momentum. But there's more. One of the businesses, it was the one connected to my dad. Oh. Emma's heart dropped. She had hoped this project would be a fresh start for both of them, but echoes of the past crept back in unexpectedly. Donovan's eyes were earnest, pleading almost. I know things ended badly with my family business, there were mistakes, and his voice cracked slightly. I wasn't honest before. I was scared of being judged. But I think if I reach out to them, they might help us. I could turn things around, for us. Emma's mind swirled with conflicting emotions. She wanted to believe in the possibility, in their path to redemption, but the shadows of their past loomed large. What if they don't want to be involved with you? After everything? Her voice was softer than she intended, the wind knocked out of her as she searched his face. I have to try. I can't keep running from my past. We're trying to create something new, right? We can't let fear hold us back. Donovan stepped forward, his eyes intense. But I need your support. I want you beside me when I do this. It was a pivotal moment, a decision laid bare between them, raw and delicate. Emma's heart ached with the weight of his admission. Could they truly push through, hand in hand, toward something beautiful? Or would the ghosts pull them under? Do you really believe they'll give us a chance? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I have to believe that. I care too much about what we're building here. He reached for her hand, his grip steadying them both. I can't do this without you. In that instant, the challenge of the moment shifted. Emma felt hope blooming, battling against the fears that clouded her heart. She knew healing the wounds of the past wouldn't be easy, but perhaps it was worth the fight for them and for the community. As they held that moment, the phone in her pocket buzzed violently. She pulled it out, glancing at the notification. It was a call. The name on the screen turned her stomach, the business contact. Could this be the moment everything changed? Emma's breath hitched. It's them. What do I say? Donovan looked deep into her eyes, bracing himself against her uncertainty. Just be honest. Just like we decided to be. Together. Her hand trembled as she answered the call. Would it be the lifeline they needed, or the final nail in the coffin of their dreams? The anticipation crackled in the air, loud enough that it drowned out the noise from the bustling community center beyond. And just like that, everything they fought for teetered on the edge. Emma inhaled sharply, trying to calm her racing heart as she pressed the green button to answer. The voice on the other end crackled with static, but she could make out the words. This is Lisa from Burton Industries. We received your request for a sponsorship. Her pulse surged. With Donovan's steady hand in hers, she found a sliver of courage. Thank you for getting back to us, Lisa. We're really excited about the work we're doing at the community center and believe your involvement could make a positive impact. Donovan's grip tightened, a silent reminder of their united front. She could feel his energy flow into her. Lisa responded, her voice professional but cool. I see. Before considering any sponsorship, we'd like to know more about how you plan to utilize the funds and whether this aligns with our company's vision. Emma paused, her mind racing. What did she say? What would they want to hear? We're all about creating opportunities for the youth in our community. We want to establish programs that teach skills, fostering self-sufficiency and empowerment. She could sense the passion rising within her. Interesting, Lisa replied, her tone shifting slightly, hinting at genuine interest. I'll need to discuss this further with my team. Can we schedule a follow-up meeting next week? Emma's heart soared even as her mind buzzed with questions. Yes. That sounds great. I just need to confirm with my partner. She glanced at Donovan, who nodded and smiled encouragingly. Absolutely. Thank you for considering us. Emma felt a rush of relief flood through her, a momentary lightness in the air. As she hung up, the weight that clung to her moments ago began to lift. They want to meet. If we prepare well, this could be the break we need. Donovan looked at her, his eyes shining with a mixture of pride and excitement. You handled that wonderfully. We can do this together. But the shadow of uncertainty still loomed. What if it's not enough? What if they see my past and pull away? Donovan enveloped her in a hug, staving off her doubts for a moment. We can't control what they think. All we can do is show them who we are now, how hard we've fought for this. Emma agreed, but as the evening sun cast a warm glow through the community center's windows, doubt still swirled in her mind. Would her past haunt her, or would they see who she was today? They spent the next few days diving into preparations. Together, they plastered the walls of the center with plans and ideas, but something was gnawing at Emma. She found herself staring at an old newspaper clipping featuring a family's blemished history with Burton Industries. On the last day before the meeting, Emma unearthed her phone again, staring at the screen filled with reminders and tasks. The article haunted her, stirring up memories that had been sealed away. Just then, she received a text from Donovan that read, we got this, right? Emma let out a breath. Right, she mouthed. But deep down, she knew they needed something more than just belief. The next day, as they prepared to present their case, Emma felt her heart race. They arrived at Burton Industries, the sleek building looming before them, the sharp contrast to the rough edges of their past. Focus on the future, she whispered to herself. They stepped inside, a whirlwind of emotions swirling around them. As they awaited their meeting, Donovan leaned closer and squeezed her hand. No matter what happens in there, we did our best. We're starting a new chapter. The doors swung open, revealing the company executives, introducing themselves with practiced ease. Emma swallowed hard. This was it. But just as they began to present, a familiar face appeared. It struck Emma right through her heart. Is that Emma whispered, her voice trailing off? Donovan turned, his brows furrowing in confusion. What's wrong? It can't be, Emma muttered, grappling with recognition and fear. The moment felt charged, filled with a current she yearned to understand. The past was here. Would it destroy everything they'd worked for, or could it somehow lead them to the path of redemption they both longed for? Emma found herself caught between the life she wanted and the ghost of who she used to be. The ground beneath them trembled as the truth unveiled before them. Would they stand strong, or would the past threaten to consume them both? Emma's heart raced, and it felt as if the air had thickened around her. The familiar face hovering at the back of the conference room was like a spark igniting a pile of old memories, both painful and bittersweet. She didn't want to believe it, but there he was, Jason Mercer, once the bane of her existence. The memory of their fights flashed through her mind. Breathe, Emma, Donovan whispered gently, noticing the change in her demeanor. She could feel his thumb tracing circles on her palm, grounding her amidst the storm of emotions. What if he says something? She muttered, the words scraping against her throat. What if he tells them who I was back then? Donovan leaned closer, his breath warm against her ear. Whatever he throws at you, remember this moment. You've worked too hard to let him take it all away. He squeezed her hand tighter. As the executive settled, Jason's presence loomed as a silent threat. He hadn't changed much, still the same sharp jawline and piercing gaze. But the seconds ticked away, and he only watched the proceedings with an inscrutable expression, seemingly disinterested. Emma tried to shake the unease, turning her focus back to Donovan. Thank you all for meeting with us today, Donovan began. His voice was steady, unwavering. We truly believe the work we're doing at the community center aligns well with Burton Industries' aim to uplift and empower local communities. Emma nodded, drawing strength from his words. She stepped forward to share her vision, pouring her heart into every sentence. We aim to create mentorship programs for the youth, provide skills training, and help them build self-esteem. A flicker of interest crossed Lisa's face as she took notes, but Emma's gaze kept drifting back to Jason. His expression hadn't changed, but she could feel him scrutinizing every word she'd just spoken. Interesting perspective, one of the other executives said, leaning in. And how do you plan on measuring success? Emma's mind raced, she had anticipated this question. We'll evaluate based on participant feedback, growth in confidence, and their progress in securing jobs or educational opportunities. We want to create a program that not only looks good on paper but genuinely impacts those involved. Quite impressive, Lisa remarked, nodding in agreement. Emma felt a sense of victory, but it was quickly overshadowed by the feeling of Jason's eyes still on her. He finally spoke, breaking his silence. Emma, he said coolly, veiling his recognition beneath an air of neutrality, isn't it interesting how people can change? I remember you looking for a way out back then. The words hung in the air, a heavy weight pressing on her heart. She could feel the heat rise to her cheeks but forced herself to keep her composure. I did, she said evenly, meeting his gaze. And I found it. That's what it's all about, helping others find their way. No one should be judged by their past. A pregnant silence settled, the tension palpable. Donovan looked at her, pride reflected in his eyes. Jason's face momentarily revealed confusion, a rare crack in his facade. The revelation seemed to shift something in the room. Emma's words didn't just hang there, they pierced the atmosphere, igniting a flicker of respect in the eyes of some executives. "Thank you for sharing that," Lisa said, redirecting the conversation. "What you're proposing is exactly what we need now, especially with our corporate social responsibility goals." As Emma and Donovan continued explaining their plans, she felt a little lighter. But Jason's lingering presence gnawed at her thoughts. What did he truly think, and would he betray her? As the meeting came to a close and they exchanged polite smiles, Emma felt a swell of emotions: fear, hope, and uncertainty mingled within her. "I think that went well," Donovan said, his voice strong. "Yes," but Emma hesitated. "What if this doesn't end the way we need it to?" "Whatever happens, we are stronger together," he reassured her, but just then, Jason stepped forward, catching her attention again. "I wouldn't count out what I can still influence," he said, smirking. Emma's heart sank. Was he a threat or could he become an ally? The looming possibility sent chills down her spine. Now, the question hung in the air. Would they rise from this as champions or would the shadows of their past drag them down? Emma felt Donovan's grip tighten around her hand as Jason's smirk lingered in the air like a storm cloud threatening rain. The room, once filled with promise and hope, felt overshadowed by Jason's words. She couldn't shake off the uneasy feeling deep in her gut. "What do you mean by that?" Donovan asked, his voice steady but firm. Emma appreciated his protectiveness. Jason leaned back, crossing his arms almost defiantly. "You have big dreams, Emma. It's fascinating how the past can resurface just when you think you're free." Each word carried a weight, punctuated by knowing glances exchanged among the executives. Emma felt a knot in her stomach. Was he trying to undermine her? "Let us not dwell on the past, Jason," Lisa interjected, trying to steer the conversation back to safer waters. "Emma's vision for the community is refreshing and aligns perfectly with our objectives." "Exactly," Emma said, her voice gaining strength. "This is about the future, not the mistakes we've made." She glanced at Donovan, feeling encouraged by his unyielding support. "You think they'll forget what you've done?" Jason challenged, tilting his head as if mocking her resilience. "People don't change overnight and the truth has a funny way of surfacing, especially when it's convenient." With each taunt, her resolve hardened. This was her moment. The hours spent poring over plans, the sacrifices made, it all meant something. She took a breath, ignoring the blush creeping up her cheeks. "What I did in the past doesn't define me today," she said firmly, meeting his gaze squarely. "It's how I use those experiences to help others that matters. I can't let you dim that light." A surprised silence fell over the room, and for a fleeting moment, she thought she saw admiration flicker in some of the executives' eyes. She had to believe she was making progress. Jason gazed at her, his expression unreadable, but she didn't give him the satisfaction of breaking her composure. The tension hung heavy, but she felt empowered. Donovan's reassuring smile encouraged her, acting as a lighthouse through the storm. "Can you imagine the impact this mentorship program will have?" Donovan prompted, and she quickly seized the opportunity. "Yes. We can build a community where kids can learn from their past, and grow into leaders regardless of where they're coming from. It's not just about jobs, it's about finding their purpose." The executives murmured amongst themselves, weighing her words. Jason remained silent, perhaps caught off guard by the passion behind her vision. When the meeting finally drew to a close, the executives were all smiles, discussing the potential collaboration. Emma had found her footing again, but the unease about Jason's intent loomed large. As they all stood up, Jason leaned closer. "Let us see how far you can go, Emma. You might surprise us all, or fall flat on your face. His words trailed off, chilling her spine. Was he testing her, or probing for weaknesses to exploit later? In that moment, Emma realized the stakes were far higher than just their project. It was a test of her strength, her resilience, and her ability to forge a future from a past she couldn't escape. As they left the conference room, Donovan gently pulled her aside. You did well, Emma. Don't let him get to you. But deep down, doubt still festered. What if he sabotages us? What if I can't overcome this? We'll handle whatever comes our way, together. His warmth reassured her, but she couldn't shake the feeling that Jason was just the beginning of a long battle. As they walked out, Emma caught Jason watching her with an inscrutable expression. An unsettling sensation washed over her. Was he truly finished with her, or was this just the beginning of a new game? The elevator doors closed, but her mind raced, assessing the looming uncertainty. She had carved her path forward, but would the shadows of her past creep back to haunt her? What would she have to face to truly succeed? The moment the elevator doors slid shut, a wave of exhaustion washed over Emma. She leaned against the cool metal, trying to steady her breathing, but the throbbing in her chest wouldn't relent. Donovan stood by her side, a steady presence amidst the turmoil swirling in her mind. You really stood your ground in there, he said softly, his voice grounding her in the aftermath of the confrontation. I'm proud of you. Thanks, but, her words caught in her throat. She was proud, yes, but fear lingered like a shadow. I can't shake off what Jason said. What if he uses my past against me? What if I can't keep this going? Hey! Donovan turned to face her, concern etching his features. You're not defined by your past. You've worked hard to be here, and you have a vision that matters. Focus on that. His sincerity ignited something in her, a flicker of hope behind the insecurities. But the nagging doubt still clung tight. What if Jason, with his endless resources and connections, could unravel everything she had worked for? As they stepped out into the lobby, the sunlight cut through the glass doors, illuminating their exit. Emma squinted against the brightness, her thoughts racing. Let us grab some coffee, Donovan suggested, sensing her need to unwind. They won't be able to touch you over a cup of something warm. Emma smiled at his attempt to lighten the mood, but she felt heavy. Their usual quick stop at their favorite cafe felt different today, like they were in an arena rather than a welcoming space. The sound of the espresso machine churned in the background as they settled into a quiet corner. Do you think I'm deluding myself? Emma asked, stirring her coffee vigorously, the spoon clinking against the ceramic cup. What if I'm not cut out for this? Deluding yourself? No, Emma. You're facing giants. It's normal to feel this way, Donovan replied, his eyes locking on hers with unwavering support. The fact you're even here fighting for what you believe in, that speaks volumes. Still, Jason has a way of making me doubt. She felt vulnerable, exposing her insecurities. What if he tells everyone I'm just a girl chasing dreams that'll never happen? Donovan shifted closer. The bigger the dream, the bigger the obstacles. If Jason wants to challenge you, let him. Use that fire to fuel your passion. You have the potential to change lives, not just yours. His words settled around her like a warm blanket, momentarily pushing away her concerns. Yet, deep down, they both knew this was just the beginning. Okay, you're right. Emma took a slow sip of her coffee, as if to reject the doubts swirling in her mind with each taste of that rich flavor. I'll brace myself for whatever comes next. But how do I prepare for someone like Jason? Donovan leaned back, thoughtful. You'll need to stay one step ahead. Build alliances, share your vision, and let people see the real you. You've got plenty of supporters who believe in you. Taking a deep breath, Emma began to feel the flickers of determination rise within her. That surge of confidence felt like a beacon cutting through her anxieties. It's about the mentorship program, right? I need to focus every ounce of energy there. Exactly, Donovan agreed, his expression brightening. And if Jason dares to throw obstacles in your way, we'll turn them into stepping stones, together. They finished their coffee, tension giving way to resolve. Emma's mind flipped through ideas, planning how she could rally support and solidify her path. But just as she felt her spirits lift, her phone buzzed on the table. The screen flashed with a message, one that would change everything. As she read the words, her breath caught in her throat. Donovan, you need to see this. His brows furrowed as he leaned closer, his eyes scanning the text. And just like that, uncertainty and possibility collided, setting the stage for the next challenge. What did the message mean for her vision and for her burgeoning fight against Jason? Emma's heart pounded in her chest as she handed Donovan her phone. The message was from Lisa at Burton Industries. I'm afraid we can't move forward with your proposal. There are concerns about the risk. It seems there's been a lot of chatter about your past and how it might impact the community's perception of Burton Industries. The weight of the words crashed around them. Donovan read the message and let out a frustrated sigh. They can't base their decision on gossip. This is about the community, not your past. Emma felt the familiar wave of doubt wash over her. But what if they're right? What if my history is a risk? Emma, you've shown incredible bravery. You're fighting for something that matters. Don't let their fears steal your light, Donovan urged, his voice unwavering. We can't give up now. She took a deep breath, trying to hold on to the strength inside her. But the shadows of her past loomed large, whispering insecurities that crept in like a chill. What should we do? She asked softly, feeling small in the face of this setback. Donovan's eyes sparked with determination. We fight. Let us organize a public event. Go straight to the people. If they see the impact of what you're trying to do firsthand, they'll understand. The thought lit a fire within Emma. Yes. We can gather support. Show them that I'm an example of how change is possible. Exactly. Donovan replied, excitement bubbling around them, dispelling the lingering doubts. As they brainstormed plans, her spirit began to soar anew. They mapped out the event, aiming to highlight the community's needs and showcase young voices eager for a chance at success. Emma envisioned booths with stories of triumph, speeches from students like her who had faced adversity and come out stronger, along with activities that would draw in the town's families. Let's call it Voices of Change, Emma declared, her eyes shining with excitement. We can rally everyone together, show the people who I really am and what I stand for. Days flew by as they organized the event, rushing through meetings and gathering support. Emma poured herself into it, her exhilaration infectious. The town buzzed with curiosity and anticipation leading up to the day. On the morning of Voices of Change, the sun blazed down, bathing the community center in golden light. Families and friends filtered in, laughter punctuating the air as they admired displays filled with stories of hope and resilience. Emma stood at a podium, her heart pounding with excitement and nerves. Donovan stood off to the side, his hopeful smile anchoring her. With the crowd's energy swirling around her like a warm embrace, she spoke into the microphone. Thank you all for being here. Today isn't just about me, it's about all of us. Every single story counts. We are creating a pathway for every child in our community to thrive, regardless of where they start. Let us build a future together. Cheers erupted from the crowd, a beautiful cacophony of hope and support. Their enthusiasm ignited the event. People flocked to the booths, sharing stories, reaching out, and offering ideas for future initiatives. It felt electric, as if the air brimmed with possibility. As the day continued, Jason appeared, standing back, observing the unfolding magic with an unreadable expression. Emma's heart raced. He could twist this moment, just like he had before. But she wouldn't let fear control her. Emboldened, Emma approached him, her head held high. Jason, I know you're here. It's time to understand why this matters. He raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued and perhaps, for the first time, willing to engage. Interesting approach. I see less of the scared girl today. I'm hoping to change more than just my future, I'm changing this community, she said fiercely. And it's not about my past. Today is about the future we can create. He studied her for a moment, and she could sense a flicker of respect etching into his expression. People love a redemption story, Emma. If they choose to look at me purely for who I am today, who we are together, then I know we can succeed. Emma held her ground, every word radiating a mix of conviction and hope. As the crowd continued to pulse with enthusiasm and a sense of unity, she felt Donovan South's presence close by her anchor. Later, as she and Donovan stood together, a moment of realization washed over her. "Do you think we did it?" she asked, her eyes wide with hope. "We've started something big." Donovan smiled, his gaze drifting toward the crowd of supportive faces. "No matter what, this is just the beginning. Jason can't take that away from us." Emma felt a shift inside her, a fusion of confidence and a sense of belonging blossoming in her heart. They had faced the shadows of their past, yet here they were, illuminated by the warmth of a shared dream. They were rising together, a community transcending mistaken identities and histories, the future now painted vibrant with possibilities, all ignited by love and respect. As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting a golden hue over them, Emma turned to Donovan. "Thank you for believing in me." "Always," he replied, and she felt the overwhelming moment of triumph wash over her like a warm blanket, assuring her that they had conquered more than just the event, they had begun a transformative journey. As she looked around at the joyful faces, Emma understood that change was possible. Together, they could forge ahead into a bright, hopeful tomorrow. While uncertainty may always linger, it no longer held dominion over her heart. Today, she had reclaimed her narrative. Don't wait one more second. You need to subscribe now to catch this inspiring transformation and more incredible stories coming your way. Leave a like now to help us feed the algorithm. And comment below on how this experience made you feel. Let us get this message out. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who also need to see the power of change. Your support makes all the difference.